Figure 10.2. Reminiscing with others helps children consolidate their audiographical memories. In which children construct their autobiographical memories, we explore this source of evidence in more detail in Chapter 11. 10.6. Less is more. It might be tempting to conclude that infants are merely forgetful adults who get better at learning because they get better at remembering. But this would miss an important point about development. What look like limitations and constraints in children's abilities are sometimes the smartest way to approach learning something complicated. Newport, 1990. For example, linguist Jeffrey Ellman ran a computer simulation to understand how children learn grammar. Ellman, 1993. One group of children in the simulation were given adult-like memory capacities from the start, while a separate group were given memories that were developed much more like real children, starting small but growing larger over the time. He trained both groups on the same sentences and then asked them to generalize the grammatical patterns they had learned to some new sentences. He found that children given full adult-like memories from the start made all sorts of grammatical errors and were difficult for the system to unlearn. The children with a limited initial memory capacity took longer overall to learn the patterns, but made fewer mistakes, eventually homing in on the right grammar, just as real children do, but constraining memories to begin with. These children only saw a simplified version of what was a bigger and more complicated picture. When their memory capacities eventually grew larger and could take in a whole sentence, they were able to apply what they had learned in a simple cases to more complicated ones, hence the subtitle of his paper, The Importance of Starting Small. In another computer simulation, Ibbotson and colleagues, 2018, took the same basic idea but went further, implementing not just a limited memory capacity, but a memory that actively forgets, the way the real children do. They found a Goldilocks zone of forgetting that were neither too strong, forgets everything, nor too weak, remembers everything, but was just right for the word learning. In this case, the right amount of forgetting was beneficial because it took away some of the incorrect guesses about what the word meant, leaving a stronger memory trace of the correct meanings. The broader point is that the way children's learning unfolds, with abilities maturing little by little, can be adaptive to the problem they are trying to solve. For example, infants need to learn how to control their arms. There are vast numbers of ways in which the joints and muscles of the arm could combine to produce a desired action, say researching how to pick up a wooden block. Russian neuropsychologist Nikolai Bernstein worked out that infants solve this problem by gradually releasing the freedom of one joint at a time, allowing them to learn how one element of the system, the shoulder joint, works in isolation before working out how it combines with the next, the shoulder joint plus the elbow joint, and so on. This gives infants a way into a near interactable challenge of reverse engineering which combinations of muscles, nerves and tendons are required to produce which action. Bernstein, 1967. One final example: infants need to learn about objects in the world, but one complication of doing so is that the same sized object can look bigger when it is close and smaller when it is far away. Turquoise and Kenny, 1982, proposed that infants solve the problem of perceiving size consistency by initially restricting their depth of field vision to objects that are very close, allowing them to learn about the size of the objects and confounded by the effects of distance. Sometimes, key point, sometimes less is more in development, because gradually expanding one's social, cognitive and physical abilities can be adaptive problem-solving strategies. Talking point. Memory is a fundamental part of growing up. It tells us the story, who we are, and is central to a very idea of learning itself. But of course, memory does not stop being important. Beyond childhood, nor stop changing as we get older, this much is made all too obvious for people living with dementia, who may forget their loved ones' names, important relationships, where they live and what they did that day. There are many different types of dementia that affect the brain in different ways, but in Alzheimer's disease, and the hippocampus is one of the first areas of the brain to be damaged. This area is important in converting short-term memories into longer-term memories. This is why the ability to take new memories is one of the first things to be affected, and long-term memories from childhood or young childhood before Alzheimer's took hold are some of the last to fade, captured in the phrase first in, last out. There is much we do not understand about memory's work in general, and dementia in particular. There is huge effort underway looking for ways to slow progression of this disease and ultimately offer a cure. Researchers have found that regions of the brain that encode music-associated memories are some of the last to go. Alzheimer's, Jacobson et al., 2015. Music seems to be particularly powerful cue to the past, evoking emotional details from time and place when the music was significant: a birthday party, a first kiss, a breakup, a dance at a wedding. It means music therapy can the opportunity to help people, even those in late stage of Alzheimer's, to connect with the memories they still have. There seems to be poignancy to the fact that some of the first memories we make as children might be the last ones we ever remember. The impact that memory loss can have on an individual, and perhaps even more so on the people who care for them, reaffirms the central role memory plays throughout our lives. Summary. The shift during skill acquisition from effortful, deliberate practice to automatic performance allows children and adults to keep learning new skills. Working memory describes the ability to hold some information in mind while working on other information. Working memory develops significantly during middle childhood and underpins a wide range of social and cognitive abilities. Long-term stress experienced during critical periods of early brain development can alter how children perceive future rewards and threats. Neurological maturation, reduced forgetting, the ability to bind memories together and develop sense of self and language are factors that help explain why adults have difficulty remembering the first years of life. Memory for the gist of the situation can make older children and adults more susceptible to false memories than younger children. Autobiographical memory integrates memories of past experiences into overarching life narratives or personal history. Through their remissing style, caregivers can significantly affect how children's autobiographical memory develops. Sometimes less is more in development because they're gradually expanding one's social, cognitive and physical abilities can be adaptive problem-solving strategies.